Once upon a time, in a small town nestled in the woods, there lived a family of 4: John, his wife Sarah, and their 2 children Timmy and Susie. They had just moved into a beautiful old house on the outskirts of town, known as Hollowwood House, and were excited to start their new life together. Hollowwood House was an imposing old mansion, with a sprawling garden and thick woods surrounding it. It was rumored to have a dark past, with whispers of strange happenings and mysterious deaths that had occurred within its walls. However, John and Sarah were not deterred by the rumors. They had fallen in love with the house at first sight, and were thrilled to have the opportunity to make it their own. They spent weeks painting, cleaning, and decorating the house, turning it into a warm and inviting home for their family. But as soon as they moved in, strange things began to happen. At first, it was just small things: doors closing on their own, strange noises coming from the attic, and objects moving without explanation. But as time went on, the occurrences became more and more frequent and intense. One night, while John and Sarah were sleeping, they were awakened by the sound of Timmy screaming. They rushed to his room to find him thrashing around in his bed, with scratches all over his arms and legs. They couldn't explain it, but it was as if something had attacked him. After that night, the family began to experience more and more terrifying occurrences. They would hear whispers in the hallways, doors would slam shut on their own, and they would feel cold spots throughout the house. They even began to see apparitions in the dark corners of their rooms. As the weeks went on, the family began to feel like they were being watched constantly. They started to become afraid to even leave their rooms at night, and their once happy and loving family dynamic began to break down. One day, Sarah decided to do some research on the history of the house. She went to the town library and dug through old records and newspapers, trying to find any information she could about the previous owners of Hollowwood House. What she discovered was chilling. It turned out that the house had been built in the early 1900s by a wealthy family, the Holloways. The patriarch of the family, Samuel Holloway, was a notorious tyrant who ruled over his family with an iron fist. One day, Samuel's wife and children had had enough of his abuse and plotted to escape. They were successful, but Samuel was left alone and enraged. He barricaded himself in the house and refused to let anyone in or out. As the days went on, the townspeople became concerned and eventually broke down the door of the house. What they found inside was a horror beyond words. Samuel had gone mad with grief and anger and had killed himself and his entire family. After that day, the house was abandoned and considered cursed. No one had lived there since until John and Sarah moved in. Sarah was horrified by what she had learned, and she realized that the spirit of Samuel Holloway was still haunting the house. She knew that they had to leave, but John was skeptical. He didn't believe in ghosts and thought that they could tough it out. However, one night, everything changed. The family was awakened by an incredibly loud noise coming from the basement. John grabbed a flashlight and headed down the stairs, while Sarah and the children stayed upstairs, too afraid to move. As John made his way down the stairs, he heard the sound of something moving in the darkness. Suddenly, the flashlight flickered and went out, leaving him in complete darkness. That's when he felt something grab him from behind and pull him.